The most embarrassing mistake that changed everything. Picture this. You're at a networking event, trying to make a good impression. You walk up to a group of people and want to say, "That sounds like a great opportunity." But instead, what comes out of your mouth is, "That sounds like a great octopus." Yes, octopus. Where did that even come from? This actually happened to someone I know. And you know what? That embarrassing mistake became the turning point that helped them speak English naturally and confidently. By the end of today's story, you'll discover how one silly slip-up opened doors to amazing opportunities. Hi, everyone, and welcome to English Stories with Alex. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that affects millions of English learners worldwide: how to speak naturally without forcing your words. Meet Sarah, the quiet student. Let me tell you about Sarah Chen, a 22-year-old college student from Austin, Texas. Sarah was studying business at the University of Texas, but she had a secret struggle that was holding her back. Even though Sarah grew up in the United States, she always felt nervous about speaking English in social situations. She could read perfectly. She could write amazing essays. But when it came to speaking in conversations, everything fell apart. Her sentences sounded robotic. Her mind would go blank. She constantly searched for the right words, while her classmates spoke effortlessly. Sarah second-guessed every word that came out of her mouth. Does this sound familiar? If you've ever felt this way, you're definitely not alone. The moment everything became clear. The wake-up call came during a group project in Sarah's junior year. She had prepared everything perfectly, but when she stood in front of the class, her mouth went dry. Her voice sounded like she was reading from a script, not having a natural conversation. Meanwhile, her classmates spoke with confidence. They used natural expressions, hand gestures, and smooth flow. That's when Sarah realized something important. It's not just about knowing English. It's about knowing how to speak it naturally. Why do we force our words? Before we continue with Sarah's story, let's understand why this happens. Here are the main reasons people struggle to speak naturally. First, thinking in your native language. When you translate words in your mind before speaking, your speech becomes slow and unnatural. English has different sentence structures, and direct translation doesn't always work. Second, fear of making mistakes. You hesitate because you're afraid of saying something wrong. This makes you overthink every word, which kills your fluency. Third, limited exposure to natural English. If you only study from textbooks, your speech will sound robotic. Natural conversation includes slang, fillers, and expressions that textbooks don't teach. Fourth, focusing on perfect grammar. Many learners try to create grammatically perfect sentences instead of natural speech. But native speakers don't always speak in perfect sentences during casual conversations. Finally, lack of confidence. When you're not confident, your voice sounds weak and you struggle to express yourself naturally. The friend who changed everything. One day, Sarah was at a coffee shop with her best friend Rachel. Sarah told Rachel about her speaking problem, and Rachel laughed, not in a mean way, but in an understanding way. Rachel said, "Sarah, the problem is that you're thinking too much. You're treating conversations like a speech. Just talk like you're talking to me right now." Sarah was confused. "But I don't want to sound unprofessional or use the wrong words." Rachel shook her head. "That's exactly the problem. You're so afraid of making mistakes that you're not letting yourself be natural. Just speak like you're thinking out loud." That conversation changed Sarah's perspective completely. She realized she wasn't allowing herself to be herself when speaking. The journey to natural speech. From that day forward, Sarah started making small changes. Let me share the steps that helped her the most. Step 1. Stop translating in your head. Sarah's biggest mistake was forming perfect sentences in her head before speaking. This made her speech slow and unnatural. Instead, She practiced thinking directly in English. She did this by talking to herself when she was alone. She would narrate her actions. Okay, I'm making coffee now. Should I add sugar? She also watched TV shows and repeated lines naturally, without overthinking. Step 2. Practice speaking without a script. Sarah used to plan what to say in every situation, but that made her speech sound robotic. So she started practicing conversations without planning. For example, instead of preparing what to say when ordering food, she just spoke whatever came naturally. If she made a mistake, she didn't stop. She just corrected herself and moved on. Step 3. Use simple, natural words. Many learners try to use complicated words because they think it makes them sound fluent. But fluency is about smoothness, not difficult words. Instead of saying, I am experiencing extreme exhaustion, Sarah learned to say, I'm really tired. Simple and natural always wins. Step 4. Learn to use fillers. Native speakers don't always speak in complete sentences. They use fillers like, you know, and I mean to sound more natural. Sarah started practicing with phrases like, I think we should go to the park. You know, it's really cold outside today. I mean, I didn't expect that to happen. Step 5. Focus on communication, not perfection. Sarah realized that fluency doesn't mean perfect grammar. It means you can express yourself easily, even with small mistakes. She focused on expressing ideas clearly, using body language and gestures, and speaking with confidence, even if she made small errors. The octopus incident now. Let's get back to that embarrassing moment I mentioned at the beginning. A few months into her journey, Sarah attended a networking event for business students. She was nervous but reminded herself to relax and just talk naturally. She walked up to a group of students and introduced herself. The conversation was going well until she wanted to say, "That sounds like a great opportunity." But instead, she accidentally said, "That sounds like a great octopus." The moment she realized her mistake, Sarah froze. Her brain panicked. Octopus. Where did that even come from? The group went silent for a second. Then they burst into laughter. One guy named Jake wiped a tear from his eye and said, "Did you just say octopus?" Sarah's face turned bright red. She could have run away in embarrassment, but instead, she laughed along with them. "Yeah, I meant to say opportunity, but I guess my brain wanted seafood instead." The laughter got even louder. And you know what? That moment changed everything for Sarah. How a mistake became a breakthrough. After that incident, Sarah realized something huge. People don't care if you make mistakes. They care about how you react to them. If she had gotten embarrassed and stopped talking, the moment would have been awkward. But because she laughed it off and kept going, the conversation became more fun. From that day on, Sarah stopped being afraid of messing up. If she said something wrong, she just corrected herself and moved on. The best part: that little octopus mistake actually made people remember her. Weeks later, she ran into Jake again, and he said, "Hey, it's the octopus girl. How's it going?" It became a funny inside joke, and Sarah made several good friends from that night. The coffee shop connection. A few weeks after the octopus incident, Sarah was in a coffee shop when she noticed a girl sitting alone, looking frustrated at her laptop. Normally, Sarah wouldn't start a conversation with a stranger, but her new confidence inspired her to try. She walked over and said, "Hey, I hope I'm not bothering you, but you look like you could use a break." The girl looked up, surprised at first, then smiled. "Oh my God. Yes, I've been stuck on this for hours." Her name was Lisa, and she was working on a business proposal. She had all the ideas in her head, but when she tried to write them down, nothing sounded right. Sarah laughed. I totally get that. I used to feel the same way with speaking English. My thoughts were clear in my head, but when I tried to speak, it came out like a mess. Lisa was shocked. Wait, English isn't your first language, but you sound so natural. That was the first time anyone had ever said that to Sarah. She felt a mix of pride and disbelief. Sharing the journey. Sarah told Lisa her whole story, the awkward moments, the mistakes, the octopus incident. Lisa laughed so hard she nearly spilled her coffee. "So, how did you stop feeling nervous about speaking?" Lisa asked. Sarah thought for a moment. "I stopped worrying about being perfect. I realized that speaking isn't about using fancy words or sounding smart. It's about connecting with people. Once I focused on the conversation instead of my mistakes, everything got easier." Lisa nodded slowly. "That actually makes sense. I think I do the same thing with my writing. I keep trying to make it perfect instead of just getting my ideas out." "Exactly." Sarah smiled. "Just write like you're having a conversation. The words will come naturally." By the end of their chat, Lisa felt completely different about her project, and Sarah had made a new friend just by starting a simple, natural conversation. The networking success. A few weeks later, Lisa invited Sarah to a networking event her company was hosting. Sarah's first instinct was to hesitate. Networking events meant talking to lots of strangers. But then she remembered how much she had improved. This was a perfect chance to challenge herself even more. At the event, Sarah found herself talking to business owners, marketing experts, and startup founders. She was having natural conversations without overthinking. At one point, she was speaking with a man named Daniel who ran his own digital marketing company. When he asked what she did, Sarah confidently said, "I'm a business student, but I'm really passionate about communication. I love helping people feel more confident when speaking, especially in English." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "That's interesting. So, you help people improve their speaking skills?" "Yeah, I've been through the struggle myself, and now I enjoy helping others overcome it too." Daniel thought for a moment, then said something that completely shocked Sarah. "I actually run a side project where we train employees in professional communication. We're looking for fresh perspectives. Would you be interested in an internship?" Sarah couldn't believe it. Just a year ago, she was terrified of speaking. Now she was having such natural conversations that it led to a real career opportunity. Helping others speak naturally. A few months after landing her internship, Sarah was in her favorite coffee shop when she got a message from Tom, a classmate who was struggling with the same speaking fears she once had. "Sarah, can we meet up? I really need your help with something." When Tom arrived, he looked frustrated. "Sarah, I understand English perfectly. I can write well, but when I speak, I feel like a mess. I have job interviews coming up, but the moment I have to talk, my mind freezes." Sarah smiled because she knew exactly what he was going through. "Tom, that's completely normal. You're overthinking because you're trying too hard to sound perfect." She pulled out her phone and started recording. "Let's try something. Imagine I'm the interviewer. Tell me about yourself." Tom started nervously. Hi. My name is Tom. I, um, I'm studying business and I want to work in marketing. I think marketing is, um, interesting because it helps companies grow." Sarah played it back. Tom winced. "I sound terrible." "No, you don't. You sound like someone who's thinking too much. But let's try something different. Forget about English for a moment. Just tell me about yourself like you're talking to a friend." When Tom spoke naturally without worrying about perfect English, he sounded completely different, relaxed, confident, and engaging. "See, that's how you should sound in English, too." The transformation. After 3 days of practice, Tom called Sarah excitedly. "Sarah, it worked. I still made mistakes. but I felt way more natural. I even had a casual conversation with my neighbor without feeling nervous. A week later, Tom went for his interview. Afterward, he sent Sarah a message. I did it, I spoke naturally, and they liked me. Even if I don't get the job, I feel like I finally overcame my fear of speaking. But the story gets better. Tom did get the internship, and just like Sarah, he started helping other people who were struggling with the same fears. The ripple effect. As Sarah and Tom continued helping others, something amazing happened. Their story began inspiring even more people. The intern Tom was mentoring started helping another intern. It became a chain reaction of confidence and natural communication. Soon, Sarah's manager asked her to share her journey at a company seminar about communication skills. She was nervous at first, but then she reminded herself, this is just another conversation, and I know how to do that. Standing on stage, Sarah began, "A year ago, I wouldn't have been able to stand here. I was afraid of speaking because I thought I had to sound perfect. But then I realized something fluency isn't about knowing every word. It's about trusting yourself, embracing mistakes, and focusing on the message, not just the words." The audience hung on to every word. When she finished, the room erupted in applause. The key lessons through Sarah's journey. We learned some powerful lessons about speaking English naturally. First, mistakes are not your enemy. They're learning opportunities. Sometimes the mistakes make conversations even better and more memorable. Second, perfection is not the goal. Communication is the goal. Focus on getting your message across, not on using perfect grammar. Third, confidence comes from practice. The more you speak without worrying about mistakes, the more natural you become. Fourth, helping others helps you grow. When you share your journey and help someone else, you reinforce your own learning. Finally, speaking naturally opens doors. When you connect authentically with people, amazing opportunities can happen. Your 30-day challenge. If you want to start speaking more naturally, here's a simple 30-day plan. Week 1, build confidence. Speak aloud to yourself for 5 minutes daily. Record yourself and listen back. Week 2, learn natural phrasing. Focus on contractions and fillers. Watch TV shows and repeat sentences naturally. Week 3, improve fluency. Try the no pause challenge. Speak for 1 minute without stopping, even if you make mistakes. Week 4, practice real conversations. Join online discussions. Find a speaking partner, or simply start conversations with strangers. Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be natural, confident, and authentically yourself. The ongoing journey, Sarah's story, didn't end with her success. She continued helping others, speaking at events, and building her career around communication. But the most important lesson from her journey is this: speaking naturally isn't just about English, it's about life. When you stop forcing things and start trusting yourself, everything becomes easier. Today, Sarah runs her own communication coaching business. She helps people from all over the world overcome their fear of speaking and find their natural voice. And it all started with one embarrassing octopus mistake that taught her the most valuable lesson of all: be yourself. Embrace your mistakes, and trust that authentic communication will always win. Your turn to shine. So, what about you? Are you ready to stop forcing your words and start speaking naturally? Remember Sarah's story the next time you feel nervous about speaking English. Think about that octopus moment and how a simple mistake led to lifelong friendships and career opportunities. Your journey to natural English speaking starts with a single conversation. It starts with accepting that mistakes are okay. It starts with focusing on connection instead of perfection. Take that first step today. Start a conversation. Make a mistake. Laugh about it. learn from it, and most importantly, keep going. Because just like Sarah discovered, when you speak from the heart and trust yourself, amazing things can happen. That's a wrap on today's story from English Stories with Alex. If Sarah's journey inspired you to speak more naturally and confidently, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Did you have your own octopus moment? Share your funny English mistakes. We've all been there, and they make the best stories. If this story helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to English Stories with Alex for more inspiring stories about English learning, confidence, and personal growth. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a new story. And don't forget to share this with a friend who might need to hear Sarah's message. Remember, your English journey is unique and valuable. Embrace the mistakes, celebrate the progress, and keep speaking naturally. Until next time, keep sharing your voice with the world. This is Alex, and I'll see you in the next story.